brought him to the oh my goodness, they brought him to the front of the school and on a stretcher, and they tried to put him in one of the police officers' cars, and they weren't able to. So then they tried to put him in the back of a fire department truck that has a lift on the back of it. So they weren't able to put him there either, because all of a sudden here comes an ambulance and they throw him in the ambulance, and they rush him out of here. And I thought for a while that they were going to bring more bodies out, and they didn't, But after that, that's when it kind of like calmed down, and you could see where a lot of the officers and SWAT teams and everybody was starting to leave.
Could you tell, was that a child or an adult?
No, it was an adult. It was an adult. I'm assuming it was a shooter.
Why do you assume that?
Because it was a man. It was a man. It was a man stretched out, and they were like they weren't like working on him. They were just trying to get him to an ambulance, to get somebody to the hospital. I mean, they were, for a while I thought it might have been an officer, because they were so adamant about hurrying up and getting him help. And
well, it sounds like there was a Border Patrol officer who was injured. I don't know if there was anybody else. So you're not sure who it was. You can only tell it was an adult man.
It was an adult man, but he was not dressed in green, like the Border Patrol people do.
Well, what was he dressed in?
More like in khakis.
Well, what was he dressed in?
More like in khakis.
Oh, shit.
More like in khakis.
Where are they at?
Oh.
So it's possible he was law enforcement, but you don't, or it's possible he was the shooter.
No.
Where are they?
No, it was definitely the shooter.
I'm assuming that it was a shooter.
Yeah, I just want to make sure what we know.
No, because I didn't know what the shooter looked like until actually I saw it on Facebook. Where everybody was posting who he was and what he looked like.
And you think that was him?
It could have been, yeah.
Could have been. All right. So you saw an adult male. Could have been the shooter. You saw them rushed out. Around what time was that?
That was about 1:05.
Did you have on?
Well, a little bit after 1, because that was already 1 o'clock when I was sitting at my kitchen table.
And you said you had rushed home because your daughter or granddaughter was
My
there?
granddaughter was home.
Your granddaughter was home, and was she home with anybody else, or was just that?
No, she was by herself. She's 13, so
All right. So your 13-year-old granddaughter's home alone. You're rushing back here.
Yeah, because I was wanting to make sure that because I called her and she didn't answer, but then she called me right back, and I told her, please don't go outside. Nobody stay inside. Don't go outside. Lock the door. Just to make sure, because I didn't know exactly where the shooting was going on. So.
What did she tell you she saw?
She didn't even hear anything. She gets in her room and she just stays there. She says, Grandma, she goes, I saw a lot of police. She says, but I didn't think anything of it.
Did you by any chance get video or photos of the guy being brought out?
No, I didn't.
Oh, no worries. But in any case, I think it was sheer. Is it possible it was law enforcement, or you think it's unlikely?
I'm going to say unlikely.
Okay. Thinks it was unlikely it was law enforcement. Believe it was the shooter. Saw him rushed out. You said they tried to put him in a squad car.
Like an SUV.
Yeah.
A black SUV. They tried putting him in there, and they couldn't. They wouldn't. They didn't. So then they came to the red truck, which is one of the fire department trucks, and they were able to pick up the lift in the back. But they didn't put him in there either, and then they decided to put him in the ambulance when the ambulance arrived, and they just threw him in there, and they rushed out of there.
Gotcha.
So.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am. I really appreciate your time. Yeah, we got it at the beginning.
Yes.
Were you just do it again. Just to make sure we were.
Zina Aguilera. Zinna. Aguilera is Aguilera.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Zina.
you.
All right. Oh, go ahead. All right. You ready for the 6? I am parched. They didn't take us live during that, did they?
No.
Okay.
Patty.
And I'm like trying to. It's like, hey, we're trying to get any information we can.